Welcome back to Kamen Rider Review, episode number 16. This I'm reviewing the Kamen Rider vs. Ambassador Hell movie, and episodes 72 to 79, the final 8 episodes of the third arc of the series. The movie itself actually takes place between episodes 68 and 69, where the simply plot of this one is that Ambassador Hell wants. Now, here's the thing. This movie has, appearance-wise, has got a much bigger budget than the previous movie did. Thank God for that. Also, they do the similar plot they have several times. Oh yeah, bring back dead characters for an assignment before they get killed off by the Kamen Rider. This time, unlike the previous movie, where it featured the first two Kamen Riders, this one just featured the original. Well, there's a reason for that, because the second Kamen Rider is off in South America. I'll get to him, don't worry about that. So, excuse me, the other cyborgs are simply... Now, here's the thing. There's one cyborg, which everyone thought was a new cyborg, and he points out, though, no, I'm not. This is Laredo Kid. Now, Laredo Kid actually made first appearance in episode 66, an episode that basically brought back five dead Shocker cyborgs, via demonic ritual. Yes, and he's back here for his final appearance. And here's the thing, all the monsters who see this movie, none appear again after this. Nope, this is the last time they ever physically appear. Now, I think that starts off with basically, we have Taki and have their race, obviously. So, then they get attacked by Shocker combatants, though they'd beat him pretty easily, and then steal a helicopter, yes, a Shocker helicopter, fly it to their Tokyo branch base, yep, fly it to the Tokyo branch base, and they proceed to storm it. Now, I should point something out interesting about the base itself. Most of it looks very similar to what we see in other bases, except this one actually has different hallways. And also, something we see starting in episode 72, arrows in the hallways. Yes, yellow paper arrows. Yes, the mark where people need to go. The hallways are blue. The command center itself, for the one they use here, is most the same. Not really much change there. Though in later episode thing, they do remove the little squiggly line thing and replace it where the walls are red, or basically whatever building they're in. Heck, at one point they're headquartered in a freaking tower. So eventually this branch is held in an abandoned building. One of the two times they use an abandoned building in this particular thing as their base operations, which is interesting to say the least. The base up was destroyed. It's first time Tokyo branch ever even brought up, but I'm not surprised they even had one. It's just that why the heck they would bother to do anything with this particular base, I'm not sure. So they have another grand base, which was on the construction, built at the base of basically built near the top of Mount Fuji. Yes, Mount Fuji. And their cyborgs are there simply just to distract them. That's simply the reason for the reason being here. The Rare Kid, once again, is the leader of the cyborgs, just like what he was in episode 66. So he actually has more cyborgs to command this time. Last time was 5. This one seems like a good dozen of them. Yes, and if you're curious though, what Shocker villains are brought back for this movie? You might ask. For this movie, which, by the way, this movie does the final appearance of like one character who appears in it. Yes, these final monsters are brought back in this one. Kilrog, basically, no one. He's basically, and we also have Cockroach Man, Galera, Semakog, Jagger Man, Sucog, Snake Man, Worm Man, Ale King, Goza, Pardon, Kamagor, Zora, who was actually featured in the previous movie, Dukamu, Masabid, Dumbros, and rated Lizard Man. Now, unlike the last movie, which did feature original monster, this one doesn't. They don't feature original monster. They think Relocated is the new monster, but nope, he's somebody they've seen before. Well, according to him anyway, so they completely forgot about this West Vegas movie where it's chronologically taking place. This is basically after 60. This is like not even a couple weeks after the last saw him. So there's that. What Chucker's grand plan? Fire a laser at Tokyo to destroy the city. Yep. And the base is destroyed by of course the Kamen Rider and Taki. It's a good movie. Here's the thing, it's longer than the last. This one was almost 40 minutes. Excuse me, I watched it last night. I thought it was pretty good. Now, in case the episodes come afterwards, 72 and 73 are noteworthy. It's kind of a loosely connected two-parter. Most of the big plot of this one is that we had the return of the second Kamen Rider. First time since episode 52. Yes, makes a return first time in 20 episodes. Now, apparently, Tubba is on vacation at this particular location for a hot springs trip. He brings some kids with him. And, of course, also, this is also the last time we hear the mention of the writing club. Because starting with 74, we have a bit of a change, which does continue throughout the rest of this one and the following couple different Kamen Riders, which we'll get to that. So, they unleash a monster in this location. Yes, the monster is called the blood-sucking Macros. Yeah, the whole thing is, it's one of 2 times where the monster's gimmick is a sucks blood. Yeah, seriously, that's what the thing does. And basically, they bring back the Kamen Rider. I like the fact they brought this guy back. I mean, at least to be a good period of time. Been 20 episodes since the last appearance. And they're basically here for the following episode because basically Chakra's their plan is to build a base here, which thwarted twice. And of course, they introduce a new monster at the end of the episode after the previous monster is destroyed. Yep, and then they have the guy fight the 2 Kamen Riders next episode, and he's eventually destroyed, and of course, Ambassador is basically fallen away. And after that, second Rider is not seen again until episode 93. I'll get to that when I get to it. So, 74 is introducing something really new. We're introduced to the Kamen Rider Boy Squad. Simply put, basically a group of kids who form basically... You can kind of think of the best way to describe these kids is that they are, in fact, the Kamen Rider version of the Baker Street Boys. Yes. Simply put, they're there. It's this communications network. And the Writing Club it's disappeared. There's no mention what happened to it. They basically rebuild the offices as basically the main office for the Kamen Rider Boys HQ. And all of basically dressed in white shirts, wear the ascot like the Kamen Rider does, wear ball caps with the Kamen Rider head of the mask, and shorts, because basically kids. There's even some girls part of this group too, and their primary vehicle is a bicycle. Yep. And a couple of these kids were introduced prior to this one. Now, the group itself is quite interesting, to say the least. Yeah, introduced in episode 74, and they're here for pretty much the rest of this era. Yeah. The Kid Corps, this is basically the Kamen Rider Kid Corps. They're pretty much here for pretty much the rest of the original Kamen Rider, and they're there for the following one, and then they appear a couple more times after that. Yeah, and their members are simply Noki and Masaru. These two pretty much appear as they're pretty much there as replacements for Goki. Yeah. Now, unknown why in the world that the Writing Club was replaced with this organization. Yeah, it's like the Racing Club was introduced in episode 14. That's when it was first introduced. Basically, it was introduced with second Kamen Rider. And then, approximately 60 episodes later, is dropped in favor of this group. And they also have Carrot Pigeons. And of course, the first monster they basically encounter in these episodes is a guy who gets blood. Yeah, and we just had this not long ago. And his thing is let's have blood drip from freaking stairs. like it's a Hammer horror movie. Yep. And one of two times where Kamen Rider tries to take control, or not Kamen Rider, Shocker takes control of the village. Another time they show up, they manage to kill an entire population except for one little boy, who was made part of the Kamen Rider group anyways. Yep. Now, when they bring in the poison they introduce the one in episode 75, the poison fire monster. Oh boy, it's a female one, and it's like, oh, she wants to seduce the Kamen Rider and Taki. And the one thing I don't like about this monster is this little sound it makes whenever it does this little roar or whatever. Because basically, we always have the same sound for all of them, and man, this is annoying. And this I found the same way about the monster in episode 77. Really annoying roar. And by the way, this actually is the first female monster they've actually had in quite some time. Yes. And the thing is, it's really this one that anybody infected with, let's say, the rose, would apparently they stick people's chest and cause to kill people. Though, eventually, after the rose is removed, they're able to turn normal, no problem. Yep. You probably would think at this point, and this is about like just the following episode, just after the kid core was introduced, they might, tell these kids to stop doing this because of Shocker. No, they're pretty useful. They're pretty much here for the rest of this run and the following run too. Yeah, it's actually the second time I could think of where they have a flower as a monster in the series. Yes, the second and the last time. Now, 76 is an interesting one. It's actually the first episode to feature not one, not two, but three monsters of the same one. The first one is basically, now how these monsters defeat is quite interesting. Though they go to, once again, an abandoned building. From what I can tell, appearance-wise, it looks like the same building they use in the movie, Kamen Rider vs. Master Hell. And they even have where Kamen Rider throws a combatant off this building, and then eventually this guy is defeated by basically beating up, and then he falls off this building too. The second one, after Kamen Rider is captured, he is defeated by having Hugo take a drill that Ambassador was going to use to drill in his head, and where he proceeds to drill several holes into this other one, like in its eye, face, and chest, and this creature dies. And then they unleash the third one, where it's defeated basically at a waterfall. Yeah. Interesting, though, we have this interesting idea of three of the same monster. It gets a chance to basically use the same suit twice. Oh, by the way, the weakness of the first one, its leg was weakness. Yes, its leg. Yes. And by the way, this is only episode 77. Roughly 2 more episodes until the finale. Though, in the case of... Of course, that was 76. 77. This is the episode... Actually, 76 is definitely one of this. Where... Yeah. 78 basically has the one where they massacred the whole village. Mm-hmm. And the sole survivors inducted into the boy group, the kid core, and I don't remember if he's seen again after this one. No, he isn't. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Though in episode 78, we're pretty much beginning. It's the start at the beginning, the end of the third arc, where we use the constant Kanemaru, who actually is not part of Shocker, and like, oh, you'll find out soon enough. And we also introduce a new monster, known as, basically, we hinted at the monster of our next episode, the Rattler, which will reveal exactly who we'll get to in a minute. So, it's a quite bit of an interesting episode where the whole thing about 78 is that where like the boss is going back home to basically mourn his family. Now, why? Like, how is it we never mentioned that he's from this town? And he's not really bothered by the fact that pretty much his whole town has been massacred, except for this one kid. Either he doesn't care, or he just doesn't really express it at all. Not really. The whole thing of this one is turning people to secrets to cause more destruction. And they do defeat the monster. At one point, Shocker controls an empty village. Yes, an empty village where they pretty much massacred him, including two kids' parents, by turning him to mud. No, seriously. Though the end of the episode does set up the very end, it's pretty much the end of this era, with having where we have this guy called the Rattler, and apparently shocked by seeing the Kamen Rider, finding him trying to find out he had just poisoned a reservoir, and apparently the information had been leaked. Who leaked it to him? It's been suggested it was a Master Hell, but I think it's kind of verified here, because Master Hell now, Kamen Rider himself was basically asked to come to see Master Hell's execution. And they freeze him, and of course he calls him, for some reason he refers to him as Huger-kun, which is interesting, because he's never been that person with him. He just called him just by his first name, went on honorific. Yeah, I thought that was kind of head scratching, to say the least. Heck, even at one point we actually have where he goes to their current base, where he feels, oh yeah, because it's brought up by one of the girls that Dr. Death was Iron Squid. And like, oh yeah, the Spink Runners, all of them are cyborgs. And Master Hell is like, he overhears, like, you are correct. We are all cyborgs. And he transforms to the Rattler, and he proceeds to capture them. Yes. Now here's that we just had this in the last couple episodes. Yeah, let's have the boss get captured along with the three girls. And interesting though, they go into a place in Japan that has a desert. Now, I do not know if this is really true or not. It could be any place. It could be an island, whatever. So yeah, Ambassador Hell himself was basically fooled by Kamen Rider. And after a pretty interesting battle him in his rental form, he is finally defeated. Yes, after this character has appeared for since episode 53, he has finally killed off 26 episodes after his debut. Though he has actually missed 2 episodes for no reason. Yeah, so basically out of this 27 episode arc, he has missed 2 episodes. Yep. And of course, then we hear the great leader Shocker says, you defeated Master Hell. We're going to form a new organization. We're basically abandoning the branch here in Japan, and the building is destroyed. It's been suggested all the Shocker branches were destroyed. Well, except maybe like 1 or 2. Just the Japanese branch to form a new organization, and we'll get that set up in the very next episode, episode 80. Okay? Final thoughts on the 3rd arc of Kamen Rider, the original series. It's interesting to say the least. I'd say that the Shocker plans are more threatening this time. Now, the thing with this arc is, it took me a while to get through it. Because I started with episode 53, like, just a few days ago, and now I finally finished it. Yeah, it's all done. No more 3rd arc for Kamen Rider. But starting with the very next arc, next episode, I'm going to start reviewing the final arc of the run. Now, my original plan was to stop at episode 79 and do the anime stuff, but I figured though, I'm at this point anyways, I have 19 episodes left to go. Get it done. I'm going to go ahead and work on it. So, I'm going to end this here, and then I'm going to do, basically, so that's going to be pretty much it for Cycle Review. Next up is 2 straight Comic Corners, and I'm going to do 1 more Kamen Rider review, and I'm hopefully get a chance to Heroine, a Labyrinth, Another World. Okay, next video. Bye.